What if I told you the future of cars was not invented by Tesla Ford or even in Silicon Valley, but was revealed more than a century ago, right in front of President? A car that powered itself demanded no horse, no push, and promised freedom beyond imagination. Yet somehow history buried it so deep that most people have never even heard of it. In the next few moments, you will uncover the shocking story of Maxwell's self-powered car, the invention that stunned the president, the moment it could have changed transportation forever, and the unanswered mystery of why it vanished from memory. Stay with me until the end, because this is not just history. It is a warning of how easily the world can lose a breakthrough. Picture the early 1900s. Streets were filled with horses, wagons, and unreliable machines that coughed thick smoke into the air. Cars existed. Yes, but they were noisy, fragile, and often broke down just yards from where they started. The world desperately wanted something different, something clean, something powerful, something reliable. And that is when an inventor named Jonathan Maxwell stepped forward with a creation that would silence critics and electrify imaginations. The Maxwell self-powered automobile. This was not just another motor carriage. It was sleek, dependable, and most importantly, it ran in a way that defied what people believed was possible at the time. Crowds gathered to see it with their own eyes. Imagine the excitement. Whispers of a car that could run itself. No animals, no endless cranking, no noisy, sputtering engines. It moved with quiet confidence that made onlookers question everything they thought they knew about travel. And among those witnesses was not just the general public, but the President of the United States himself. The moment Maxwell's machine rolled forward, heads turned. Jaws dropped and history stood still. If stories like this fascinate you, then you already understand why forgotten breakthroughs matter. Now imagine the tension. Here was a president who had spent years surrounded by horses and carriages. And now he stood watching a self-powered vehicle glide smoothly across the ground. Every eye was fixed on him. Would he laugh? Would he dismiss it? Or would he recognize the revolution standing before him? Reports from that day say that he studied the invention with cautious awe. The hum of the motor, the smoothness of its movement. This was not just a novelty. It was a glimpse into the future. The crowd roared. For many, it felt like witnessing a miracle. In that single demonstration, Maxwell's creation transformed from a curiosity to a potential cornerstone of modern life. But then came the mystery. If this car was so groundbreaking, if it impressed not just the people, but the president, why did it vanish into obscurity? Some said it was overshadowed by competitors with deeper pockets. Others argued that the world was not ready to embrace it. And still others whispered of powerful interests determined to bury anything that might threaten the fuel-powered machines that were beginning to rise in dominance. The truth is still debated to this day, but the result is undeniable. Maxwell's self-powered car slipped through the cracks of history, leaving behind only traces of what could have been. A design lost, a moment forgotten, a vision ignored. Fast forward to today. We celebrate electric cars as if they are a brand new idea. We talk about innovation as if it was born yesterday. But Maxwell's forgotten invention proves that humanity glimpsed this path more than a century ago. Think about it. What if his design had been embraced, refined, and mass-produced? How different would our cities look now? How different would our world be? Would we have skipped decades of pollution, oil dependency, and industrial struggle? Would we have built cleaner, quieter cities? Would the energy giants that shaped the last century have ever existed in the same way? History does not just repeat itself. It warns us. It shows us the chances we ignored. Maxwell's car is a haunting reminder that progress can be delayed not because of lack of genius, but because of lack of vision. So, let's return to that moment again. A president standing before the future of transportation. A crowd cheering. The air filled with wonder. And yet the world turned away. Maxwell's self-powered car was more than a machine. It was a missed opportunity, a road not taken, a silent chapter in the story of human innovation. For years, people searched archives trying to find blueprints, records, or preserved parts of that car. A few newspaper clippings remained, a few sketches in dusty journals, eyewitness accounts from those who saw it with their own eyes. But the machine itself disappeared as if swallowed by time. Some historians believe the design was purchased quietly by early industrialists who wanted to eliminate competition. Others say the project died when Maxwell refused to sell out to oil interests. A few insist it was simply ignored because investors did not see the profit in something that did not consume fuel. No matter which theory is true, the fact remains. The world was shown a future that it refused to embrace. Decades passed. The world built an empire around oil. Smoky factories rose. Cities filled with traffic. Generations grew up believing that engines had to drink from a pump to live. Yet buried in that forgotten moment was proof that it did not have to be this way. When electric vehicles returned to the spotlight in the 21st century, most celebrated it as a bold new step. But in truth, it was a delayed step, one that could have happened long ago. Imagine a world where self-powered vehicles existed since the early 1900s. Roads would have been quieter, air cleaner. Technology is more advanced by decades. People in small towns would have had access to transport without depending on fuel stations or power grids. Maxwell had imagined exactly that. He believed in a world where power flowed freely from the environment itself, where transportation was not chained to fuel lines or cables. His vision was radical but pure. He presented his invention to industrial leaders, hoping they would see its value. But instead, he met closed doors and skeptical faces. The same pattern that has greeted so many inventors who were too far ahead of their time. And so his creation became a story told in whispers. A machine that once rolled before a president vanished from the stage of history. As the years turned into decades, the legend grew. Engineers debated whether it was real or myth. Journalists hunted for old archives. Some enthusiasts built replicas based on the surviving sketches. And each time they tested the design, they were stunned by how far ahead Maxwell had been.